Daniel is the author of a new children's book called Do You Want to Play? Making Friends with an Autistic Kid. So I'm really excited about that. I got my copy. The illustrations are amazing. And the book is fantastic. I love it.
This book here has been probably my favorite thing that I've ever worked on. It's also probably the hardest thing I've ever written, even though I've written academic papers dozens of pages long, because it's tricky to get the proper messaging into a few hundred words and into a language that young kids can understand, right? But it's been very gratifying.
Okay, let's talk about the book. Daniel's book, Do You Want to Play? Making Friends with an Autistic Kid. Daniel, okay, can you tell me how you came up with the idea for the book? And tell me all of the things about your book.
So this book, I'd like to say I came up with it originally for altruistic reasons, but at first it was an assignment for a children's media program that I was taking part in. But once I started writing it, it just really took on a life of its own. So I was brainstorming with a pal of mine and with Mom. How can we tell a story about autism and friendship that no one has really done before? Because all of the children's literature featuring autistic characters that I've read, and I read dozens of picture books about featuring autistic kids, especially about friendship. They're all done with good intentions. I am not trying to slam anybody here, but they're all pretty problematic in a lot of ways from the ones that I've seen. Either, like I said, it'll show one non-autistic kid just like doing the autistic kid a favor by being their friend, or they'll just come off as very medical and like they're thinly disguised lists of features of autism. Very rarely was the autistic person treated like their own actual character.
Right.
And so it was really important to me to show a non-autistic kid wanting to find out about this cool new kid. And, maybe hoping that they can be friends, but not like demanding or expecting it. And then at the end, we do show that Dylan, my autistic kid in the story, is also just as capable of contributing to a relationship as the main character, Jamie. So, well, should I give a bit of a synopsis?
Yeah, do, please.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got Jamie here, who is our precocious young girl who has her favorite yellow truck. I don't know if you can see that. And she really loves to play with her truck, and she meets this new kid at school, Dylan, who just loves to line up his cars. So she's really excited, and she wants to play with this new kid to get to know him and everything. But he doesn't really respond at first when she asks, "Do you want to play?" And she tries several different things. She plays all her favorite games with him. She offers to, but he just keeps on doing
nothing of it.
Yeah, he's not being mean or anything. He's just going on doing his thing. And so if she wants to become his friend and maybe have him want to play with her, she'll maybe have to adapt her thinking a little bit, and maybe try seeing things from a different perspective. So that was something that was really, really important to me to get right. It was a very difficult balance between, you know, you don't want to, you want to show the real lives of an autistic kid, the real way that things are, but you never want to trend into being stereotypical as well. So it's a tricky balance, but I wanted to show the ways that you can have things in common, even if you're a little different, and the importance of diversity and, you know, thinking a little differently sometimes.
I love that Caroline put so much effort into making the friendship happen. It wasn't like, oh, well,
So,
I'm doing him a favor being his friend. She put a lot of effort into, like, well, maybe if I do this, he'll want to play. And she didn't get angry. She just kind of was like, well, how else can I do that? And she kind of, she put a lot of thought into it. And I thought that was different from any other books that I've seen, like you were
thanks
saying.
very much. Yeah, it took a lot to just a quick point of order. Caroline is the third friend in the
Sorry.
story,
Jamie.
but Jamie, our main character, it was really important to me to get that balance right, because we don't want her to come off as bossy. We don't want the non-autistic reader to think that they just have an entitled like right to be friends with this autistic kid. But we do want to teach how to approach. Um, and again, I stress that all autistic people are different, but how you can approach a lot of autistic kids, and possibly socialize. And we also, I just lost my train of thought. We
Can
wanted
I
to.
say something?
Yep.
Sorry.
Before I forget, can I say something?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
touched on something that was really important. So your book is one autistic kid, right? It's about
Yes.
one autistic kid.
Yes.
And you said, you know, this isn't a book about all autistic kids, it's a book about one. And I think that it's so important for this world to have way more of these books so that we can show thousands of autistic kids, not just one autistic. I think it's so important that, yeah, this is just one.
Yeah, you know
We
what?
need more of these books.
You know what? The plan, or the hope at least, is to turn it into a series. I am definitely in the prepping stage for at least a second book. The plan is for it to continue following these characters, but we would introduce more as it goes.
Cool.
And yeah, I mean, you're so right. Like, we just in general in the media need more varied representations of autism. You want to know how many times people have asked me if I'm like Rain Man, or or if I can count these toothpicks that they toss on the floor. Like, some people can do that, I'll admit, but everyone's so different, and people just jump to these conclusions.
So can we
And
talk about the, oh, I'm sorry, Daniel.
no, I was just going to say one thing that was important to me writing this book, and I don't think I've actually shown even you this part yet, Megan. Oh wait, you have the book, of course you've seen it. But we have at the end we have these questions and answers for each page that children might have. So that way, we thought it was important for, you know, autistic or not autistic, for parents or teachers who are reading this book with some kids, but who might not be too educated on what some of the things mean. We thought it was important to have something to help them with that conversation. And one of the things that we really stress is that everyone with autism, every autistic person is different. They, you know, might like different things, might act in different ways. This is just how Dylan is.
I think that's so important too, to provide a guide for teachers, because you don't want to just send them out there on their own without any type of guidance from an autistic perspective, instead of that medical model of, like, one of the questions is, what is autism and what does autistic mean? You don't just want them coming up with the answer to that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like, and I felt, like one of the questions, like you're saying, it says, "What does autism mean?" And we say, autism is a word that describes some people and how they interact with the world. Um, we go into more detail, but it says like some autistic people speak, some don't. Some don't like loud noises, but others love making a racket. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, I just thought it was important to get these messages across. And I should say this book, by the way, is a collaboration between three autism champions. So I, of course, wrote it. My mom here, who, as she said, she's an autism consultant, and she's probably the honestly, uh, most highly regarded one that I know, and I know a few. Um, so I thought we brought her on board, and she provided a fantastic preface for parents and teachers at the beginning as well. And she really helped to make sure that the learning went in an authentic way. And then I do want to give a quick shout out to my incredible illustrator, Naghmeh Afshinjah, who has an autistic son who's very much like Dylan. And you can just see, like, you can see everything just in the eyes and just in Dylan's facial expression, how he's uh, how his averted gaze, he's not quite looking in the eye, but he captures that very authentic look. When I saw these sketches for the first time, I'll show you my favorite one. I think this is Jamie giving her mom a hug. Um, but she wanted to be part of this project as soon as mom showed her the text, and then as soon as she sent me the first early sketches, I was shocked. I was blown away.
You were like, you did it. Yes.
Thank you. Like it brought a tear to my eye because she understood 100% exactly what I was going for.
Can I show you my favorite page?
Okay.
Okay. So this one, and it had, and in the question and answer section, it does have a question about why is one of the pages upside down. And so it shows the little girl looking at Dylan. And then if you flip it upside down, you can see how Dylan sees things. Whoop, there we go.
Yeah, and that was all. I'd love to take credit for that genius move there, but that was all Naghmeh's idea when she was laying out the page, and I thought that was just brilliant. Literally helping the kids to see things from a different perspective. I thought that was just great.
Yeah.
Which is why having someone who loves somebody who's autistic is so helpful in terms of finding the illustrator. I mean, even because it's someone who's looking at the situation, I think that she just brought something to it that we may not have been able to find anywhere else.
This is her book. This is Daniel's book, not Maxine's book, but this is Daniel's book.
It's partially her
book. You want to play? Tell your librarians that you want them to have this book. Mm-hmm. Recommend it to your kids' teachers, or if you're a teacher, recommend it to all of the people. And thank you for coming on.
My pleasure. And I do want to say, so I sent you all the links, but I also included a link to a YouTube reading of the book that I did, if anyone wants to check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for having us, Megan. It's so great to have people like yourself doing this kind of advocacy work.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. And thank you to all of the book lovers that came in. Even if it was for just a little bit, I appreciate all of your time. And you two stay on while I press end. Mm-hmm. And we'll meet back in the studio. Hang on just a second. Bye, everyone.